we're like a couple of minutes early, but who cares? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is what it feels like. I think though, to you've seen enough of something basically, or you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I don't know how a lot of things for older folks are because so much changed. And now we're
Sure.
in this like era of we don't forget nothing. Like everything that has come out, we're holding on to. Batman came out 100 years ago, basically, right?
Yeah, it was
But
I
like,
think it was a 37 or something like that. Yeah,
but
so
like, there's nothing that people hold on to other than like maybe music, stories, like Bram Stoker. But it ends kind of there. Like you've got some Western stories. Man, we're going off on a tangent here, but like it's
but
I
coming in
feel
for
like
landed, folks. Don't worry,
I
it all
feel
comes
like no,
together.
I feel like that we've seen so much that like when they say here's more of this and more of this, it's becoming less and less like I don't it's I'm becoming less and less pumped for these things.
Sure.
Um which is why like and I have to thank the my subscriber EB for getting me to watch this show in the first place. Because I really just wasn't that interested.
Sure.
Um and it would be something I'd get around to. But like how much Batman in my life. I've had like it's just been my whole all these years for my whole life. And the same stories are told and like we just keep seeing different versions of them and after a while, yeah, I mean, you just kind of go whatever. I don't know. Like because I don't like die on one hill. Like for somebody who just Batman is everything everything and nothing else really matters unless Batman's involved with it or
Sure.
someone that related. We have those people. So
Yeah.
them aside, for those of us that have our 10 fingers and toes in all kinds of things that we're interested in, I think that after a while, like you try to find new things, maybe things that you never even thought you wanted to do before. Different kinds of hobbies and things, different things that you've just never experienced before. And I think part of that is just comes down to, like you want to have new experiences before you move off this mortal coil. And it's like, yeah, when I'm really old, maybe I'll catch up on some of these Batmans that I've missed or something. But like, we were talking about getting, kind of jaded, I think.
Yeah, well, discussions on interpretations of Batmans and figures. I mean, and we've hit this before. I mean, on a long enough timeline, eventually we will come across your perfect kind of Batman. In the meantime, there's been that urge lately with like the whole Bat God idea, like indefeatable, all of this stuff. It's like I don't know. From a childish standpoint, that's exciting. From a story standpoint, it's incredibly boring. What do you do with that with somebody that can't be beat?
Yeah.
There's still, the old days, there was still like once in a while, he'd get knocked out from like some lady with a broom or a skis or something like that. Oh, then he's out. That makes up for stories. You can't have him like, oh, no matter what happens, I am fully prepared for everything.
He's like sounds like comic book guy dressed as Batman doing Batman impersonation. Um, so
I can defeat anyone as long as I am properly prepared.
so for those of you out there, we went a little live early this week because of my work schedule. I'm gonna be unavailable for a few nights this week. Um, this might not be every week, but if it comes up that we do, we're gonna try to give you guys notice for it. Um, Also, I got Absolute Batman #1 today. So I'll probably be talking about this next week at the top of the episode review. But first, because I've been talking about Vox Machina, but this week my Critical Role news is different because as a Beacon member of Critical Role, I was able to get the live show tickets in advance. I had to go to Ticketmaster. You have to be you had to be a Beacon member. And there's a reason I'm just telling this story, because it's just like life. And you just try to do one thing for yourself. So you're a Beacon member and they're going to send you this code. And they sent me the code like a couple of days ago. And the tickets go on sale at 10 a.m. And you want to make sure, you know, you got to go to Ticketmaster, sign in, make sure you got your money all like how you pay loaded up, make sure you're signed in already so that when you hit the button to go to the link, you know, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
But I have to work today and it goes on sale at 10. And I'm a real, when it comes to my professional life, I'm very about the rules and doing things right. And I'm not like when I clock out, you know, but
when
I'm
you're
at
working,
work,
man, you're all business.
I am like two different people. Like I am there to do this. I have to make sure that I can keep doing this and get paid to do this for as long as I need to. So I, you know, do what I have to keep my job. and more than that. So I'm a real stickler for the rules. But today, and I shouldn't be saying this like on stream because then this is evidence. No, it isn't. This was my 15-minute break that I get. I get 2 breaks. This was my 15-minute break. And for 15 minutes, I sat in and waited. I had to find a good Wi-Fi spot. Oh, yeah, because I can only use my phone, and my phone's data plan is about to like almost all my data is gone, right? So if I try to use my data, I run the risk of not getting the tickets. So I had to find this weak ass Wi-Fi signal that we used to have a great Wi-Fi signal. Now you can't. You got to go stand in the corner and like a one particular area of the store, and maybe you'll get a signal. So I found that one spot, and I'm sitting there just waiting. My finger hovered over go into the thing, and it lets me go. And instead of going in right away, I'm in a queue. I have to wait in a queue. And my code was like 000. I was like, oh my God, I'm like the first person here. But as soon as the tickets like went on sale, I was like 686 people behind.
Ow.
And here's the other thing though, is that I started moving, the queue started moving very fast. And all I can think is, man, people are buying just blocks of tickets with bots. And that's why things are moving. But that wasn't the real problem. The real problem was my app, my phone, my own nerves. I was so freaked out that when I'm looking around in the thing and I'm like, put the code in, I'm yelling at myself. Like, no, my phone won't go to like capitalization and it's flipping and my keyboard's turning on and off and on and off. And I can't do it. And I'm looking for the best seat in the house and I am failing and I am panicking. And it sends me out. And I'm like, oh God, I have to go all the way back and then like into the email again and hit the link again and then go, oh my God, am I going to be stuck in the queue again? Except the first time it's fine, but I can't land on the ticket because I want 1, not 2. And it's like sending me all these different places. And I keep seeing ticket, good seat, boop, gone, boop, gone, boop, gone. Every time I'm trying to just get in. And and then it kicked me out totally.
Oh, that's hurting my heart, man.
I had to go back into the queue and wait. It was a lot quicker, even than the first time, and it was pretty fast. But I just like saw the first like boom, okay, there. So I lost a lot of good seats. I still have a pretty good one.
Okay.
I did finally manage to get it done. And then they just the whole thing with your bank, and you have to like, I put my payment information in. Why do I still have to do this? And because they want to make sure and blah blah blah. And I don't know if they're holding the ticket. Like after all of this, I'm expecting to hit yes, everything's good, and they're like, sorry, ticket's no longer available. Somebody else was faster. Like I was practically crying because this is like such a huge deal for me. And
well, and you're trying to get one simple thing done, and you have to run into like a chaos storm.
And right before the tickets went on sale, and I'm sitting there, my phone starts ringing. My phone never rings. Okay, this thing is a brick used for internet purposes. And lately, my job, people, if they can't find you for 2 seconds, they just call you and text you from inside the building. And the phone rings like less than a minute before the queue's going to open. And it's my boss. I don't know where he is in the store, but he's calling me like some specter.
I'm on my break.
I answer the phone and it's like, do you know where the 51 to 60 piece cooked shrimp are? And I'm just thinking, fuck your shrimp, you fucking, I don't know where the fucking shrimp is. But what comes out of my mouth is like, I really don't know, man. I don't know. I'm like, in my voice, I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, look in the freezer, right? This is where the shrimp is. Like, they should say on the sides of boxes. Isn't it over here? I don't know what I'm looking at. It got done. I have an okay seat. So, and the real, bonus is the show is something I really wanted to do, but I mean, I'm going to be able to get the autographs and the pictures and everything. I'm going to cry in front of Matt Mercer. It's probably going to happen.
You got to have your goals. You got to have your goals. Your game.
I don't know how I'm going to get out of it. So, and it's probably going to be a battle royale, which is a little disappointing, but oh well. It's still like a big, awesome experience, and I can't wait to do it. That was like the big Ticketmaster story, though. And hey, Bill, how's it going? Welcome to the chat. So I think that's all I got. It's been crazy.
Well, to bring things around here from a larger show and potential larger variations of things, I don't know if you did catch. But Matt Reeves is in discussion with HBO, who has an interest in doing potentially other Gotham shows, maybe not Penguin based, maybe with other villains. There's kind of an expanded universe types things. There's nothing decided at the moment, but I think with the way that Penguin has been received and how much people are kind of enjoying this particular world of Gotham, I'm tentatively excited about where this may go. I don't know. I guess the downside that I have with me is I think the Batman Part 2 isn't slated until like 2026. So you're looking at probably a few years before anything would actually come up onto screen. But, I don't know. I was kind of excited about that. As much as we've been enjoying this show, I would be excited to see other explorations of this Gotham.
Well, that's actually a good segue into like starting it. I mean, I think, and one of the things I don't really think about the comparison to the Batman movie was that this is a rated R show, and Batman is a PG-13 movie. Hey Dev in the chat. And I think it's time that the studio stops being afraid of making R-rated Batman movies. I think it's time. I think it's time that they forget that movies like Deadpool, Wolverine prove that it doesn't matter what you rate it. If people are interested in the character, they're going to go. And I feel like already this is an R-rated world. It always has been. It's fine that it hasn't been, but I think we're all grown up enough. People take their kids to every kind of movie, so I don't want to hear, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to take my kid to see Batman and they're going to hear the word fuck." Shut the hell up. You probably said fuck in the card with your kid 700 times. Okay?
Right.
So I think the world is finally ready for an R-rated Batman. I don't mean like just gratuitous. I just mean freedom to tell the story however they need to.
Sure. I guess,
Especially
yeah.
with crazy villains like the Joker and what they do, and I think we need some of that punch from like to show like how bad these characters are and what they're willing to do and why it's important that Batman stops them. I don't know. That's just a thought that I had that I thought was interesting with the Matt Reeves stuff in this universe, is that they get the freedom that the movie isn't going to have.
Sure. I mean, from a whole budgetary standpoint for the show, the audience that you're going for, HBO is never really like, a kid's cable network, even though they did have like some children's stuff on and like Fraggle Rock and all those types of things. Their premium shows were always very adult oriented, very mature oriented, which is why I think this falls into it. I have no problem with like an R-rated Batman or anything if the story, script, and style calls for it.
Yeah.
I do agree with your idea in the freedom aspect to tell whatever story that you need. But yeah, I mean, if it's just so they can curse and so on.
Well,
yeah.
Language is language. Like they abused it for Doom Patrol. Like I like that show fine, but a lot of those shows that they were doing shows for the DC universe were swearing for swearing's sake.
Right.
We can, so we do, and we don't care if it actually matters. The swearing needs to have it needs to be part of a natural language of why somebody reacts this way, not to just be like, unless you've got it's a scene full of teenagers or something walking down the street that's how we talk. That's how we talked. When you just blah, 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 blah.
No, but there's definitely, you can always tell when it's the gratuitous, like, okay, you're just cursing because you can, and this shows that you're mature. But yeah, sometimes that's not really called for.
Yeah. So all in all, though, as we get started, I mean, it's so good. It's so freaking good. Let the ass kissing begin, because the drama is so solid in this episode. I don't know. Maybe you have a different opinion, but it's just another excellent episode that I do kind of feel like we have to go scene by scene pretty much on this one.
No, they're doing a great job of constantly keeping things guessing. You're going to go, there's going to be some call, somebody's going to make a move, someone's going to, go this way, that way. It's even a lot of things that happened tonight. I mean, of course, obviously the Squid Victor showdown was going to happen, but usually that's like the finale bit. Penguin's fighting with Sophia and her guys while he's facing off with Squid, and you get the two battles happening at the same time. And it's like, nope, we pretty much just took care of this one right here in a great way, in a great manner for a character.
Yeah.
And in a sense, in a way that could round out Victor's story if this was his final moment, depending on how we were going to interpret it and how that finale, that cliffhanger is going to end out. Is this, Victor beat his own demons and stepped forward and thus this is the end of it? Or is this just going to be another one of those things like, man, glad you did it now, because we would hate your first to be the next thing we got to do, because then that's going to be really scary shit. They, even the whole Sophia and Oz's girlfriend and how that all seemed to play out. I mean, they really keep you guessing, I think, in an extremely well, in a way that makes sense, but you don't see coming.
Yep. Pretty much. I can't believe they never really go all the way with the song, but I thought it was really funny that they were playing, like, what is that, Stroke?
Yeah.
That, well, okay. The first part of this, because I love this speech, and there's a few speeches in this episode, of like just the narration over the city, over the music, like if you didn't know you were watching a show about a villain, you'd think that you're talking to people that are heroic, like that are doing like good, like what how he's describing like his villainous deeds and what he's doing sounds like inspiring almost. So much of what he says throughout this show and a lot in this episode, again, talks about, people aren't being taken care of by anybody, and especially here. And when he gets into the whole, like, who's got the power, and gets into the feeling of like how he likes to be the guy who takes care of everyone, even if he's got he can flip that switch, but he hasn't gotten there yet. I don't know, his speech down there talking about, they love us, he just, but then he just switches tones, like, because we pay him. Like, it's just, and again, he just gets I get so lost in watching his performance that I don't even, it's like I'm looking at somebody that I go, okay, I hope this guy gets a lot more work. Wait, no, that's not who he really is. It's Colin Farrell. Oh yeah, that's right. Because it's like he's created a whole nother person. I know we talk about this all the time, but it just blows my mind.
What they've done really well here, I mean, not just Farrell's, Colin's performance, though that, of course, is a huge part of it, but the writing and just the care that was taken is Oz is relatable.
Yep.
His concerns are relatable. The way that he talks about trying to deal with things and the stuff is you try and bust your ass, but the guys up there, they don't even care about you. They don't know your name. He's not lying, really. And his viewpoints are relatable. And there is a frustration, I think, in many of us with the way the unjustness of the world, how, you're the little guy and you're just trying to do your thing, but it's just every time you try something, you get knocked back down. They put another obstacle in front of you. This should be your time. And so I think they do a great job of making him relatable. Even the whole scene with his mom, when he's like, you're not a dog. I'm not going to do that, Mom. You feel that humanity in him, but they never excuse the fact that he's still the villain. He's the protagonist. Yes, we want to relate to him. We want to connect with him, but he'll turn around and kill and stab and betray and do everything that he needs to do. And I think that is, I think a lot of companies can learn this type of storytelling lesson, is you can make a villain relatable without making him the good guy or excusing his villainy. It makes sense. Sometimes we want to make the journey with the bad guy, and we know that they're bad.
Yep.
Especially if they're fighting other bad guys. That's great. He's just the top bad guy, but they're not excusing his behavior. And I think that's something that really keeps the tone of the show right.
Yeah, the survivor character, who can sometimes be like Penguin, who's a full-on villain, but they allow you to see his life, see how he got there without making excuses for his choices now. When he knows, like, blah, 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 what he's doing is wrong, or when he goes out of his way to do something wrong. And then you've got those kind of characters that, like, for me, it's like the Alex Krycek character.
Oh, I love Krycek. Yeah.
The character who just can come in and out and is always, they always make you have to trust them, knowing the inevitable betrayal will come at some point. And I love that, like, characters like Oz and Krychek are always those kind of characters that are so much fun to play with and got to be so much fun to play. I love when they use them sparingly, and like, unless they have something specific to say, like they do here.
Right.
Which also goes, like, hopefully if they do continue these Gotham shows, they have something specific to say about all of them instead of just, I could see that maybe the first couple of seasons or series that goes, but then I could see it starting to just be like,
it's
diminishing returns quickly. But
yeah, no, difficult tightrope to walk for sure.
And just the continuing of the people with the nose up, never looking, they don't look down to even see what we're doing. That's why they don't notice us. But again, Victor also proving in this episode, like, he's not like he was. He saw, that there were eyes on them. He's not like leading people back like he probably would have earlier in the show. You know what I mean? It was that naivete, then like unsureness of whether he should be doing it or not, to now just full acceptance. And then by the end of this episode, like we talked about with Squid, it's on. Like, he is full on. And then I have the whole thing with how they're distributing it. Everybody is getting some of it, but none of them can know that it's from them. Now, I know that it's a fun idea, and this show shows like a lot of time goes by without telling us.
Yeah, they do a nice time jump with the snow, I think, is that way of letting us know time has passed.
And that these, whatever works in the moment fails later on in the same episode because of time going by. And they do that without making it feel rushed, because every scene is so meaty that you don't feel like you're like jumping around too fast. By the time you get around to doing that where it fails, you've already feel like it was a long time ago, and you're watching it in the same episode. That's great pacing and writing. So Sophia and what's going on in her house, I'll say this, I don't really care what they're doing, what's going on here now anymore. He's just like, I'm just there to worship you. And I'm like, is that all this guy, like, whatever they plan on doing with this guy, I hope it's worth it, because so far it just still feels like, why is he here? It's not a really complaint, because these scenes also just show off how weird she is now.
Sure.
And it says, like, how she deals with this person's way, how he's behaving towards her. I think that's at least interesting more than what he's doing. And that's not his fault, because I feel like he's just, like I said, they're either holding way back on this guy, or he is what he looks like, and it's just kind of weird. And I don't know.
I mean, I've got to have a belief that there's going to be some other payoff than just, the doctor that kind of maybe helped her out and then sort of fell in love. Just the show's been too good to, like you say, just kind of waste this character use, so yeah, I mean, it gets a little creepy. Again, just tied to the chair, pants partially down, not even off or down, just obviously we're showing the you're used and I have the power. And yeah, it's very much a Sophia, evolution presentation.
Yeah, like what she's becoming and how this is part of that.
But I also kind of like, I don't know, in my mind poo-pooed it and pushed it away, because ultimately this comes down to seeing Sophia and Clancy Brown just
Clancy,
read the fucking phone book for all I care, man. The two of them just make a scene out of just
He's getting to do some stuff that he's never done before. You know?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is
Because
such a great Clancy Brown vehicle for where he is now and what he can do, and just his strength of personality, just all of his anger, his frustration, his just reads so much through all this.
his grief.
Yeah.
And just because, like, I really liked him in Detroit Become Human.
Mm-hmm.
You know, despite the hair being a little weird, but like, and that was just the animated. You know, that's just the what do they call it? The motion capture.
Right.
But I thought that you got to see a lot of this kind of character in Salvatore, because I mean, again, we've seen them almost always portrayed as just the wise guys. Even Tom Wilkinson, who I love,
Sure.
Batman Begins, was just, you the guy to come down here to my place? And he's like, dude, you're first off, you're British or somewhere from the United Kingdom or in that general vicinity. Okay.
Sure.
I you know, because there's always going to be somebody who's like, actually, he's from the small little shire of, okay.
Look, like all British actors, he's from wherever all the American accents were created and stored on tape, because they're just like, fucking, they pull American off so goddamn well.
Anyway,
we can't do British, but they can do American.
Well, I can do. I don't know. See, if I try, it'll be messed up and terrible in a cliche and a stereotype. But I don't think if I just do it randomly, it's probably way better. So, but anyway, the point is that we've seen these characters, either animated or live action, basically be portrayed as stereotypes, and Salvatore's been in jail, so he couldn't really do anything. He just has to sit there, be mad because somebody's got it over on him. Now that he's free and has had this tremendous loss, because he's still a person. He cared about these people. They burned alive. And unlike the Falcones or the Falcones, they actually care about each other. It's not dog eat dog. They actually love each other.
Yeah.
Carmine threw her in a insane asylum because he was a murderer and let her take the fall for his shit. And I'm pretty sure that he didn't really give a shit about his son either. He was probably more like Eric Trump than anything. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. He's there. He's my son. He's good to get in front of the camera every once in a while. Sorry. I don't know what I was. But Clancy gets to be a human being and a gangster, and like when he's looking at her eat the food that with the yogurt, and he's looking for a reaction, and he's looking at her with this like a daughter he's never had, like he's seeing his son or seeing some kind of reaction that his son would have. And when he's like sitting there and he's kind of not caring about all this Oz stuff and blah, 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 because they have their preconceived notions about him, and she thinking that he can't, get away from, he can't stand to not be in the spotlight, and Clancy being more like he doesn't really give a fuck. But when she says that the yogurt was good and he was right, and that way he loses it, like just quietly for a second, and then just starts like, it's so gosh darn authentic and real. Again, there's so many shows that are good, but they can't pull off what this show is pulling off, and its authenticity and its earnestness, and it's just everybody there, like nobody's thinking this is like just some stupid part in a comic book show that I'm doing and I'm gonna move.
Oh yeah,
it's
that reality. Yeah.
Everybody is creating fully fleshed out characters, even if Theo Rossi's is still like we're waiting for him to show his whatever they're going to do with him. Everybody else so far is become these, and it's 6 episodes of TV. Almost all of these characters we were just introduced to. And I feel like I've been watching them for years. And it'll be a shame when they're gone. And it'll be such a treat then to rewatch this show so you can experience the lightning in a bottle, that, because I'm calling it right now, like they can make as many shows as they want. This is a lightning in the bottle season. No matter what comes after this,
Oh yeah, no, I'd have to agree.
no matter
with
what
that.
comes after this is going to be one of those shows that people talk about. Like, if they had never made a second season of Daredevil or third season of Daredevil, you know what I mean? Like, if they only had that first season of Daredevil, you'd be like, that's all. If that's all we ever got, we'd have this one perfect season of television. So yeah, and there's a lot going on in this scene, but like it just, so much of it hinges on the performances, so much. Like her asking to chop, like it's just such a weird moment of like he's almost like the father that she never had, and he's like she's like the daughter he never had.
Yeah.
And now they have a common goal, like, and a common enemy. And it's interesting because, again, this should just feel like we're in it only for the revenge, but it feels like so much more.
Well, because I think they layer this scene where, again, it's just not the two of them eating and preparing a food and talking about all of this. Yeah, you've got that kind of, nouveau, more real father-daughter kind of relationship. But at the same time, they're still testing each other out throughout the scene. It's like, I don't believe you opened that wine up. It's like, well, it's just gathering dust. Again, it's that we're in life. Everything is transitory right now. Things are moving on. We got to enjoy these moments as it is, and she's stepping in and measuring him with the whole cutting and trying the food and so on. And he's measuring her out. And I think by the end, when she finally brings it around, is how they're going to deal with Oz and what they're going to do next. They've had the little scene of weakness for each other, a little bit of bonding type stuff through this. You can see they're evolving in their partnership.
And
it's how much are we just using each other, and how much are we actually like, yeah, this is more the way that things should be.
They kind of need each other.
Oh yeah,
emotionally in a weird way because of their loss. Because again, she became what she became in jail because of, but there's still this like person who, when he jokes about her, her father being dead, she chuckles, but I mean, it's still like, there's still got to be this like piercing pain that it was like, how did it get to this, point? Like still almost to me, if my family did that to me and I'm out and whatever, and they're gone, I would still be going, how did we ever get to that point? Like, why didn't I keep my mouth shut, or blah, 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 or whatever have you, like, again, elevating all these people that, what they do in between the panels, that's bad. They're just still, again, they're people.
Yes, I was just about to say, yeah, they're people, and that's what all of these scenes and these moments serve to underline is, again, good guy, bad guy, person we like, with all of that. These are people trying to navigate this new world. And yeah, the two of them are like the heads of the families that, like you said, kind of need each other to stabilize each other. She's brand new up in there, and he doesn't, he's now suddenly on his own, and where are all of his people? Seems like mostly hers right now. So it's like two heads of the family trying to form something new.
Thank you, Rena, for being in the chat here. Yeah, such a great testament to a show, fully formed characters doing believable things.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, there's been like things that happen in this show that you could go, well, where this is headed. But the thing is a lot of people leave themselves open for things, and you might not see it. You know what I mean? In your own life. So we go, like, when we see it on a show, it's just because we're voyeurs. We get to look at people and go, But doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to see it. The stuff that you do to go like, oh, come on. That's a lot more prevalent in regular ass TV, or a lot of shows and movies just do that. And then this show is somehow avoiding all of those traps. And if they do something that's predictable, they do it in a way that you still like. I don't even know, like, they pull off the cliches well, the ones that they do.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, they avoid most of the cliches and they keep finding new way. Even if you're expecting something to happen, it's going to happen in a different way than you think it's going to, or its timing is going to be different. And if it is the way that you think, they somehow make that the way to do it now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and in like the next scene when he finds out that Sophia and Sal have hung and cut off the fingers of people, and he's like immediately realizes that his product can't be sold now because no one will sell it. Everybody's going to run away. Nobody's going to want to work with him. We're sitting there going, what's he going to, like, what is he going to do? And he just does something that's actually kind of genius, and you don't really see coming, because that's just something you don't expect anybody to do, which is just, what if I just give it all away? And it's just because he knows he's got more. And just how it's like, you try to stop me, like, there's so many ways that plot gets in the way of character and other things. And again, I've been saying this all the time, is like, they still do what the character would do, not what the plot would, like, we got to figure out a way to write ourselves out of this problem. No, they just go, well, what would Penguin do? Oh, he'd give it away. He would throw it in their face. Oh, I can't sell it? Oh, well, then I will.
So you have to come to me, because now all your people, this is what they're going to want.
Because everybody's going to have it already, and then they're going to want it. And where are you going to go? You don't have it. So the only other option would be try to take it. But now that he's got all these people who are willing to defend him because he pays them, which they don't do and know, it's like, the only thing that could really stop it is maybe legal stuff. Pressing people with the law. The Falcons, the Gigantes and the Maronis might still have some pull with the law, but I don't know.
Well, again, it's a longer thing. This is a quicker move, and this is also something because Oz is in charge. It's his operation. He could do this. He's not tied to, I have to keep making the money because that's what I'm addicted and that's what I've got to do. He's like, fine, I don't have to make money now. We already got nothing. We just get up there, we get the demand, and then we get the power. He sees that longer term. He's willing to make those short-term sacrifices because he sees the priority, the long-term benefit out of it. And from this point, well, if I've got to bring them all in, I got to make them want to be with us, and I got to show why us being together is going to be better than all fighting amongst each other. They've made him a very smart, with his streetwise, a very smart, capable character. And again, he can think on his feet. And I think that's probably the real strength of Oz in this show is obstacle in his way. He can think of a way out of it. Something comes up. Here's a different move.
He's the guy who will cut his own foot off to get out of the trap.
Oh, yeah.
So he just thinks like, okay, like you don't think he'll do something and, because it would impact him in some way. No, because if it also works for spite, he'll do,
Well, Andy's willing to take the personal risk. He's that kind of like lead, he's like lead from the front type guy. I don't want to talk to you on the phone. You're too out of here. Let's meet in person. I mean, all of that is very risk-taking stuff. But he knows that's how he operates, and that's how he can, set up his position.
Which also I wanted to bring up then, like since we're talking about him so much, it's when they go over to his house and they break in with the crowbar and everything, which crowbars Crowbars in the Batman universe. That's why you can't see it, but it says Crowbars McGee is my name. Their discussion over him, because they just can't, like, it's like they go over there and I don't know what they expected. You know what I mean? They don't know what they expected, but they didn't expect what they find. You know, like she has some extra inside info. He just sees nothing, and it's just like that's exactly it. You know, like we know his mom's alive, but we know that he's got a girl, but they don't know those things yet. And all they can come up with is that they don't understand him because he's not like them. They've always been rich. They've always been powerful, or at least they've been rich or powerful for so long, like something more relatable for everybody to understand, right?
Sure.
When you've got a manager, the head manager of wherever you work, and that manager will tell you about how they, came up in the company and how they started where you were. But for some reason, when they got up to where at that level, they conveniently forgot everything that they learned what it was like to be at the bottom. And that's basically how a lot of these people's attitudes are, is they don't know because they can't fathom it anymore. And I think that's just a really amazing thing, because I mean, he's just mad because somebody who has nothing took everything from him. And he's living like this. And it's like he can't understand that. And there is a bit of foreshadowing here when she takes the cigar cutter. I know that's coming up probably in the next episode. But it also comes up like when she goes over to Eve's place, which we'll get to, is her talking about why are you with him, in a way, without saying that. All these things that she can't understand, like his world and the people that he lives in. And she uses like some information against him, but like when she tells her near the end, like about the loyalty thing and people having each other's backs and how she's never going to have that. And I think that there is this, like, as she's moving through his world and seeing it, even at the end, like where we know where she's at and paying attention to that, she's taking it all in. I love how they show this, the people thinking, just people thinking in a show. They don't do that. Shows don't do that.
They're willing to take the time in those scenes to let them breathe a little bit. Let the actors have that moment, let Clancy have that reaction to her, enjoying his food that he's learned from his wife's recipe. Just these moments where she's sitting there with Eve and they're looking at each other back and forth and they're letting that time for them to go through that process and really, not only see each other, but sort of sort out, what do I want? How do I get there? Is this the right person to make an enemy with? Or is this someone to hold on to? It's like all of that constant weighing back and forth. It only works because they take those moments to sit with the character and stick the camera in their face and let them experience that moment so we can.
All right. Time to move on to the next thing, which is Oz's mom. She's having a bad time throughout. And it's getting worse. And I kind of skipped over just like her continual slide of not knowing who she's talking to. And Victor thinking that, he's found this like solution to just feed into it. To get through conversations, when Oz, I wanted to say that maybe, because Oz feels like he's overstepping, but I feel like Oz is really doing what I think she'd want him to do, which is to snap her back to reality, not feed into her fantasy.
Yeah.
Because in the end, what we see, like after she's been in the tub and she's talking to him and telling him, I'm seeing things, I think they're real. Like, This performance also deserves at least a nomination for like what mental illness, how that takes a toll over your life if you live that long with that kind of mental illness, showing like how this woman needs 24/7 care. I don't like, and she's probably the kind of person who would fight that.
Oh yeah.
And so he doesn't do it. I bet you he's thought of it. Like, I know we're putting things in his head, but the way he cares about her, I have a hard time thinking he hasn't tried, or maybe he hasn't because that one selfish bit of him of if they find her, they get to me. So I've got to keep her close because I love her and I want to protect her, and that's true. That's probably a lot, like it's probably more on that side than it is like for himself. But in this moment when she's telling him like, you got to end it for me, and he says that he eventually will. I don't think he's going to get the chance. But I don't know. What I'm thinking is there's a possibility that Victor's going to have to do it.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Even when we saw the previews to this one, I was like, man, is he going to have to ask Victor to do it because he can't do it? The thing that he would.
Well, I was thinking that if he's not there and she's bad and she's hurt and she tells Victor herself to do him in, to her in, either choice is definitely possible. I think that yours is probably more likely to happen than mine, but I feel like there's this outside chance that that's something that could negatively affect Victor and Oz's relationship.
Oh, it totally would. It totally would be the, you did me a favor, but you also killed my mom. It's like,
yeah.
That's a hard one. I mean, well, I guess to kind of go into it, if we're right here, obviously we leave on the cliffhanger of Sophia being there while they're dancing, and of course she's like, "Oz, my son, you did this," so everything's out on the table. It looks like from the previews that they kidnap her and use her to manipulate Oz.
Okay, I haven't watched.
Sorry,
I haven't watched the promo, so good. Burst the bubble. Tell me, burst it.
Yeah, well, again, they just say we don't see her and we don't see Victor. They don't have him in the preview, so we don't know if they kidnapped them both, if they both dead and they're lying, if they got away. And I mean, again, we don't know what it is. But it would be an interesting thing if Oz's mom takes her, if they're using her against Oz, if she takes herself out to save Oz from having to capitulate to them. I'm going out anyway. This is the way that I'm going to go. That would be the badass mom way to do it. Again, I don't know. They're going, again, they're very good at giving you options that you think they're going to do and then finding something that you didn't think.
Yeah.
But again, I'm really, they did a great job of kind of like setting up and going, oh, by the way, there are still 2 episodes left. This journey is far from over. There's a full fucking movie waiting to wrap up this particular story. They could go in so many different directions. And I don't know who they're planning on surviving this thing, but
episode 8 is going to be epic. I know that 7's the penultimate, but I feel like 8's going to be epic.
Well, I don't think this is going to follow the path of like the Marvel shows where the one beforehand is the big setup and then you get the finale. I think that it's going to be like and not even like Game of Thrones, where the second to the last one is the big one. I think they're building like full steam. I think they're only getting momentum behind them right now. You know, I don't think next week is going to be contemplative in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I think I should probably then justify the thumbnail now because I did change it to Victor after like realizing what he's done. So Victor has this is another big episode for him because like we had talked about how Squid was going to be the guy who sees, he's going to threaten, he does all those things. He acts the way he acts. But it's Victor, like he's so, he's so ready to be all in for Oz, but he is still trying to live on the line of right when he can. So this Squid guy who he's the actor again, I said he's doing a good job at playing this kind of basic small time, hood. Who, he's one of those guys who's not afraid to just be like, like, I want to know where the money's coming from. Like he throwing the intimidation around. He's that guy from the neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
He's not Oz. He's not taking care of anybody. He is an opportunist. He's a vulture. He's just picking the bones of the place that he lived at. And he's got nowhere else to go. So it's pretty pathetic. But he's still trying to play the tough guy to anybody he thinks he's still got leverage over. Even when he's like, I don't care, you're hanging out with Oswald, whoever the hell. Like, knowing that there are still bigger fish out there that he could like do something with. And even in these moments, like giving him the money, telling him what he's doing, like, dude, you're about to get really, you don't understand. You might not be afraid of me, but you should be afraid of who I work for. And just that kind of obstinate, desperate, like, it's like I knew he was going to shoot him, but I didn't at the same time. I kept thinking, no, he might not. He might not. Oh my God, he did. And it happens in that messed up way that I don't think he knew he was going to do it. It was like literally last second, I can't take another step. Turn, shoot. And again, it's like life. In all these other shows, like one to the dome and the guy just goes down.
But no, we want to wallow in this choice, this transition of his.
And that's why I put Into Deep on the title, because it was like, it's it. Like he did everything he could. And now he's probably gonna, like, he's the kind of character who gets guilt ridden still, which, any normal person would. He hasn't given up that yet. He's still going to agonize over this, which he should. Any normal person would. But I feel like this, like now he really is like this for Oz. Like every single thing he's doing, which is why I'm waiting for that inevitable betrayal.
Right.
Because of how much he's given Oz.
Well, they played this one and so well, because it's basically we're seeing is his old mindset resisting the new position that he's in. He's made choices, but he's still trying to think he can be the old version of him, which is not, in a way, confident to deal with Squid. If he was around and just sort of faced him off as like, dude, well, you think you can get in here? This is nothing with you. We'll take this out, gets in his face, stands up to him. But he can't, because he's still seeing him, Victor's still seeing Squid through the older eyes of him as the victim and not the person who's like, you're the fucking right hand of Oz. I love the Wizard of Oz reference, by the way. But the Wizard of Oz, yeah, he's everywhere, but nobody can see him. I thought that was kind of a funny little reference.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Even dum-dums like Squid, can
he could come up with something.
Yeah, he's probably you know what? He's probably reading some moldy copy of like Wizard of Oz as he tries to fall asleep, and he's like got it in his mind, and in his mind he's like, I got some shit in my head. Sorry, I'm giving him way more backstory than he
I was
needs.
gonna say, that man, it's out on TV once. You heard about it.
It's
But so he's moving as to pay him off to whatever. Hey, it's cool. We'll do this. I'll try and deal with you in the old way. And of course, that doesn't work for Squid. So he's got to make that transition. And yeah, the fact that it's not the clean shot, it's blood in his neck spewing out. It's messy. It's gross. He has to wallow in that big transition. And the way that Oz deals with him afterwards, I mean, to me, in a way, solidifies their relationship. Because I know in some ways you're waiting for that eventual betrayal. But Oz was understanding, perceptive, thoughtful, compassionate, all the thing that Victor needed in there in that moment, and still understood. And I love that bit. He's like, don't look down, eyes up here.
right.
You did what you had to do. You defended your people. You did the right thing, boost up, his support on that. And then that last little bit of like, it gets easier.
Yeah, right.
It's like, I mean, good advice and helpful, but also
like yeah, if you want to like, if that's your goal, yeah, like if that's definitely more more of that's in your future, then I guess that's not the worst thing to hear.
Well, again, it's keeping it real. This is the world that we live in, and I'm sorry you had to do that, but you did the right thing, and it does get easier. I'm saying because we're going to be killing a lot more people.
And then we get the fantastic Sophia goes over to Eve's place.
Oh.
Which just smart. Talking to the ladies on the street and finding out like after the fact, like she sent her down there. She knew she was there, like controlling the situation as best she could for her people and to show Sophia like some respect at the same time, knowing she's probably dead.
I mean,
knowing that if any way, shape, or form she can make whatever's going to happen easier for her girls, she's going to do it. And her in just her regular street clothes, laid back, lounging on a Saturday morning after working out or something, around the house, whatever. And her, again, like I said, playing, like trying to understand her relationship with Oz, why him, blah, blah, blah. Forgetting that to Eve, she's the hangman. And she has no reason to doubt that. No, and so like, and the way that she quietly takes in the information about Oz the whole time never gives anything away.
Oh, it's like
she was wasted on Dexter. This scene is better than any scene she had in Dexter. I'm not kidding. I just want to say that because when I saw her in the cast, I was like, okay, it's her. Fine. But in this one scene, I mean, she has a standoff with it's like if somebody talked Shigur out of killing them in No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah.
You're sitting there, you're Woody Harrelson, and there's Shigur, and he's going to kill you. You know what I mean? And somehow he doesn't. Because she's not because she's actually, I mean, she went nuts, like she was sane, went nuts, but I think she's still got some of that stuff still in her that says, I'm not killing women who are just protecting other women and protecting themselves. And the only reason she did what she did was to still protect her ladies. And that respect that she gave her in this whole thing, thinking about all of those things that happened and deciding to spare her life, then giving her the information after she's walking out the door. And just every part of this scene was so well played by both actresses. One of the best scenes to me of the show.
Well, and the danger doesn't drop until after the scene is over with. I mean, even when Sophia gives that motion like she's not going to shoot her, I'm like, she could still turn around and shoot her. And then when Eve does like tell him, oh, Crown Point, I'm like, she could still just turn around and shoot her. You know, they kept the danger of that scene like you don't know they could still turn at any moment. But you're right. The fact that they don't, it's like, I mean, Oz says it later on, and I know we'll get to that scene with the golden thing, is everybody has a code. Or all of these people have their own code that they will stick to and they will be honest with. And there's a certain respect level to that. You know, Eve is mad at Sophia because she thinks she's the hangman and killed a bunch of her friends. There's a reason to hate right there. When it's not, and to find out that Oz maybe knew about that and helped cover it all up, you know, you could see there's a change because Eve is loyal to Oz to a certain extent, but she is committed to her girls. And I think that that's the thing that Sophia can ultimately respect. Like, you're willing to die and to know that you are dead. And the only thing that you ask is not to hurt these other people that you're just looking out for, who are looking out for you. I'm never going to have that.
Yeah.
That's something to leave. And in a way, that's also a way for Sophia to have that. Hey, if I can show my commitment and honor and respect to Eve here and not kill her because I can respect her bit, then maybe next time Eve will show me that kind of respect and commitment that I kind of crave. And of course, it does immediately pay off when she tells her about, you know, that Oz is at Crown Point. And I love that. Hey, you deserve your shot. I'm not going to protect him anymore. And you let me protect my people. So maybe you're not as bad as we think.
I think this is probably this is one of the best episodes they've done. This, not counting like the pilot or the first episode, is probably top 3.
Oh, I'm going to have a difficult time ranking these episodes when it's all done. To me, it's like, okay, they're all 10s. I haven't even seen the 9.5 yet.
Yeah, they're all, I mean, as far as like each one, I don't know. They're all really good, but to try to get us out of this sooner rather than later, we should just end on the scene with the Gold Summit. Everybody gets a beer. Everybody gets a speech. When they try to, like, again, even these people that are there already ready to say no. In fact, especially the guy who had guys get killed. And he's able to just go, I didn't do that. The people you want to blame are right there. Just go there. And the continual like mantra of they don't even know who you are. They don't know your name. They don't even care. I'm here offering you all of this. And what are they doing? And yeah, they might come to you and say, hey, you know, like we'll pay you a certain amount of money for taking this guy out. But I'm offering you real future. They're just wanting to still use you and not even remember you and then take you off the board whenever they feel like it. You know, we're the people on the street. It's like we've got our street level heroes like Daredevil, Luke Cage, you know, and we've got our street level villains, you know, we're seeing in this. I mean, this is like, I almost wish Penguin was in the in the MCU right now.
He
Because
pulls a freaking Cyrus, man. We own the street, suckers. Can you dig it?
but I just, again, it's inspiring. And like, I mean, even when he's tossing the beers and the guy's looking at him like, this is the kind of guy, you know, like that you vouch for. And then in the end, he's got them all because he just makes sense for what they're trying to do. It just makes sense. Plus, honestly, them all together, they're already organized. They just got to get behind a common goal.
Yeah.
His whole family's dead. We don't really see any guys. We've got her guys. And, you know, she's locked up in her mansion with her sex buddy.
Sex doctor.
Sex doctor. MD.
MD. No, yeah, well, again, it's that perfect working class, you know, this we're setting up. The people up there can't survive without the people about us, but they don't even consider us. And in fact, that's re-hitting that theme that we saw with Oz. I mean, we saw with Carmine and Sophia and Sal. We don't know Penguin, and we don't understand him because he's not a person to us. He's one of them down there, that worker, the thing. What? He's just a whatever. We throw a quick pastiche on top of the Penguin, and he can fill whatever role it is that we want. But we don't actually have to understand him.
Always brought up as the ex-driver, you know.
Yeah.
Always looking at us down here like we could never rise to their level. Like we are supposed to know our place. Like,
and that is the revolutionary push, is there's always more of us than there are of them.
Yeah.
They depend on us. I mean, it's the Fight Club. You know, we clean your streets, we cook your food, we guard you while you sleep. Dude.
But it's also like it's like it's a villain giving an inspirational speech that fits us.
Oh, yeah. And he's human about it. He sits down, and the fact that it's beers, again, is that working class thing. We're not throwing balls of scotch or wine or champagne. We're not having this thing that's not a fun stuff. I'm opening a cooler, and I'm tossing y'all a beer. We're going to sit down on my tail bed.
Yeah, like we're tailgating.
Truck.
Bringing it down to everybody's level. Treating everybody the same. You know, Zhao might be used to caviar and champagne, but the rest of the people around him, he could see that, which is why he had to.
Oh, yeah. And even you can see his buddy behind him is like, so we get to open the beers, right? We're going to open I mean, I can't open it till you open it, but we're going to get to open the beer, right? Yeah, cause we're all cool. And they hold up and no, I mean, it's that perfect up and down that they do with this. He's down, he's up, he gets them all together, and then Sophia shows up at his mom's place. Nobody is ever safe. The danger is omnipresent in this show. How do you hold tension for 6-7 episodes straight?
And you know it's going to continue.
I know it's only going to tighten.
It's like like you see the trailer. Like I'll watch the trailer after I'm done here, but even though we know, like we just don't know, and that's just so refreshing.
Well, and again, they do a great job with their trailers, is either deceiving you or only showing you like the basic first 5 minutes of whatever is going on. Because watching last week's trailer, I wouldn't have expected everything that happened this week.
No. No. Like, I was like, yeah, it's probably going to be a lot more dense than that. But, I mean, you know, but didn't realize how dense. Because we've talked more about this than any of the other episodes. And that's, I mean, yeah, I took a few minutes at the top to do whatever, but still, We usually would have been done like 10 minutes ago.
That's it. You're like, oh, it just goes from A to B, and you're like, oh yeah, but this scene, oh, and then these people, oh, and that face off between these two, oh, and that conversation. I mean,
and then Chris Isaac at the end, which I'm sorry, I want to bring up Chris Isaac, the California crooner, man, the rockabilly guy that I've loved Chris Isaac for a long time. I liked his old Showtime show, man. That voice just fit. They're making you want to sit and watch the credits.
Their musical choices have just been constantly bad. They end each episode just musically like perfect. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna listen to some Chris Isaac tomorrow on my way to vote. I'm voting tomorrow. That's right.
I know we may not be back before Election Day, depending on how next week plays out for our thing. So this may be the last time we see you all before the 2024 election.
Oh God.
Go vote, please save us all.
Yeah, don't put your go into a polling place.
Yeah.
They're setting fires to boxes.
Oh yeah, Washington and Oregon State already had ballot boxes set on fire. So yeah, vote in person if you can, vote early if at all possible. And if worse comes to worse, man,
they're scared.
Use a vacation day, man. Vote.
They know they're gonna lose. They're scared. So expect more of this kind of nonsense. I didn't mean it to end like this, but here we are. So yeah, we'll there will either be I don't know. We'll find out next week when we talk about episode 7 of The Penguin. Just for myself, I want to bring up the Fantastic Mr. Fox video I uploaded yesterday. Pretty happy with that video.
Wonderful. I saw that when I was noting this one, so I still have to check that out. I'm looking forward to it. That's a great movie.
I think I think I made an all right video. So everybody can check that out. Is this the only game in town for you right now?
Yeah. I mean, I did one of Mark's top 25.
Okay.
About a week ago for on Enchantment of Eternity, as he's counting down his favorite Star Trek episodes. We are into the top 5. And next month, I know is going to be a really great discussion. It's one of my favorite episodes, actually, of Star Trek. So I'm looking forward to that. But I don't know when that's being dropped. Sometime next month. In the meantime, I'm here talking Penguin.
Yeah, and we'll be here into November talking Penguin, and then after that, we've got something planned that we're going to be working on together. It's going to be a special project, a continuous project, hopefully, and we've got one thing for sure planned after Penguin that everybody should be really excited to see us talk. Whatever. I've already said too much. End the stream. End the stream. But anyway, we'll see you all maybe on the same bat time, definitely on the same bat channel, with more Penguin. So have a great night, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your week. Like all of a sudden,
happy Halloween.
I feel like, can I take everybody's order? I don't even know how to end this. All right, bye.